It started with silence, the kind of silence that feels like a warning, heavy, expectant, electric. Damon hadn't spoken to me all day. Since the attack, he'd been on the phone constantly, barking orders, moving people like chess pieces across a board I couldn't see. Lucas had vanished. The mansion, once cold but calm, now vibrated with quiet chaos. I watched from the staircase as guards carried black cases through the hall. Guns. I knew it without asking. My chest tightened. This wasn't just protection anymore. It was preparation. When Damon finally appeared, he was dressed in black, tailored, perfect, dangerous. His aura filled the room before he said a word. "Where are you going?" I asked, stepping down the stairs. "Handling something," he said shortly, checking his wristwatch. "Handling what?" He looked up, and for a moment, I saw it, the flicker of guilt in his eyes. "A promise I made, to keep you safe." "That's not an answer." He sighed, his jaw tightening. "Marco's not going to stop, Amira. He sent men into my home. That means war, and I don't lose wars." I moved closer, shaking my head. "Then let me help." His gaze snapped to mine, sharp and cold. "Help? You think this is a game?"
"No, but you brought me into it. You made me part of this world whether I wanted it or not." He stared for a long time, then said softly, "You're right." That softness broke me more than his anger ever could. "But if anything happens to you," he continued, voice trembling, "I'll never forgive myself. So you're staying here. Lucas will watch you." "I'm not a prisoner." His lips twitched, not in amusement, but pain. "You were never free from the moment you walked into my life." Then he turned and walked out, leaving the scent of rain and gunpowder behind him. The hours that followed were endless. Lucas returned, silent as always, but there was something different in his eyes. Fear. He kept glancing at the window, checking his phone, muttering under his breath. "Where did he go?" I asked finally. Lucas hesitated. "You don't want to know." "I already do." He exhaled. "He's meeting Marco, alone." My heart dropped. "Alone? That's suicide." "It's Damon," he said bitterly. "He doesn't do backup. He does vengeance." I ran a hand through my hair, pacing. "We have to stop him." Lucas shook his head. "He ordered me to keep you here." "Then don't do it for him. Do it for me." He stared at me, the loyalty in his eyes warring with something else. Finally, he muttered, "You'll get me killed." But when I turned toward the garage, he didn't stop me. The storm had started by the time I reached the warehouse district. Rain slashed across the windshield, lightning flashing over the sea of shipping containers. Through the downpour, I saw black SUVs parked in a circle, headlights slicing the dark like eyes watching every move. I spotted him immediately. Damon stood in the center, drenched but unmoving, facing Marco, the man I'd only seen once before. Marco's grin was the kind that came from knowing you'd already won. "Damon Hale," Marco said, spreading his arms. "The shadow himself finally crawled out of his castle." "I didn't come to talk," Damon replied. "I noticed," Marco said, glancing at the gun in Damon's hand. "But then again, neither did I." The men surrounding them shifted, weapons raised. It was about to explode, literally, when I stepped out of the car. "Damon!" His head whipped around, eyes wide with disbelief. "Amira, what the hell are you doing here?" "I'm not leaving you," I shouted over the storm.
Ah, the famous wife. I was beginning to think she was a myth. He turned toward me, smirking. You have terrible taste, sweetheart. He destroys everything he touches. Damon moved like lightning, slamming Marco against the car hood. Say her name again and I'll rip your tongue out. Do it, Marco hissed. But that won't change the fact she's wearing Alina's necklace. The words froze Damon in place. He turned slowly toward me, realization and rage colliding in his eyes. What does he mean? I whispered.
Marco smiled. She didn't tell you? That necklace isn't protection. It's a mark. The blood oath mark. Anyone who wears it is bound to the shadow's fate. I touched the pendant, confusion flooding me. Damon? He looked at me with something close to pain. I didn't think it still held power. Oh, it does, Marco said, chuckling. And tonight it will burn. Before Damon could react, an explosion tore through the far side of the lot. Flames shot into the sky, lighting the rain in orange and red. Chaos erupted, men shouting, bullets flying. Amira! Damon grabbed my arm, pulling me behind a container. Stay down! The world turned into noise, thunder, gunfire, screams. I pressed my hands to my ears, shaking as Damon returned fire with ruthless precision. One of Marco's men lunged from behind. Damon turned too late, but Lucas appeared, tackling the man to the ground. He looked at me, eyes fierce. Go! Get to the car! But before we could move, a figure emerged from the smoke, slender, elegant, familiar. Celine. She aimed a gun directly at Damon. Move, and I shoot, she said, voice trembling but cold. I told you she'd ruin you. Celine, Damon said, lowering his weapon. You don't have to do this. Oh, but I do. Her eyes glistened with fury. You promised me everything, Damon. Then you gave her the necklace. Because you were never meant for it. She laughed, a bitter, broken sound. Then neither are you. And before anyone could stop her, she pulled the trigger. The sound was deafening. Damon stumbled back, clutching his side. I screamed, catching him before he hit the ground. Blood soaked through his shirt, hot and slick against my hands. No, 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 I sobbed. Stay with me. Lucas fired, and Celine fell. Not dead, but down. The rest of Marco's men scattered as the fire spread, swallowing everything in flames. Amira, Damon's voice was faint. The car. I tried to lift him, but he was too heavy. You're bleeding too much. Listen to me. His hand gripped mine, shaking. There's a vault under the mansion. Go there if I don't come back. Promise me. Don't say that, I begged. You're coming with me. But his eyes were already dimming, his breath shallow. Then, suddenly, he smiled, faint, almost peaceful. You remember when I said I'd make a blood oath? I nodded, tears streaming down my face. This is it. Then everything went white. Another explosion, and I was thrown back into the rain, the world spinning into chaos. When I woke, I was in the car. Lucas was driving, his arm bleeding, his jaw clenched. Where's Damon? I croaked. He didn't answer. Lucas, where is he? He swallowed hard. He stayed behind, to stop the fire, to make sure you lived. My heart broke in slow motion. No! He told me to take you to the vault, said you'd know what to do when the time came. I turned to look back. Through the shattered rear window, I saw the inferno devouring the warehouse, red, endless, merciless. Somewhere in that fire, Damon was still inside. And in that moment, something inside me shifted. The fear that had ruled me since the day I met him burned away. All that remained was resolve. If he was still alive, I'd find him. If he was gone, I'd finish what he started.
Hours later, back at the mansion, I stumbled down the hidden stairway Lucas showed me, into a vault lined with steel walls and flickering lights. On the desk lay a black envelope with my name written in Damon's handwriting. My hands trembled as I opened it. Inside was a single line written in dark ink. "If I fall, become what they fear." And beneath it, a gun. The same one Damon had always kept on his desk. I sank to my knees, sobbing, not from grief, but from the weight of what he'd left me. The war wasn't over. It had only just begun. And now I was no longer the girl who needed protection. I was the woman who would bring down the Shadow's enemies, one by one.